so I'm going to start this off by explaining load order with Starfield. It is very important in Starfield. Having your load order wrong will break your save or cause mods to not work. For example, I'm going to show these two patches I have here. 82, 83, where I currently have them. Let's say I moved them, because I believe Starfield is still bugged with the number of ESMs you have loaded. And if you move stuff too far down the list, it breaks it. So I move it all the way down to the bottom of the list. Okay, they were at 82 and 83. Now they're at 108 and 109. I'm going to go ahead and launch the game. I'm sorry this video is going to be a little long, but this part with the load order matters, since I know people are going to complain that the mod's not working or cause them to have a corrupted save or something. No, it's Starfield. Starfield does not load ESMs properly. Load order matters more than you even want to know. Playing with mods in this game, you're asking for broken saves. I'm sorry to say. I've restarted this like 10 times already. It's a broken. I've reinstalled my mods like 3 times. I've had to merge down mods, multiple mods together to reduce the number of ESMs I have multiple times to get the game to load mods properly. Granted, I have 105 mods sold right now, but I had over 140, 150. And see here, it's broken. NPC's head is missing. So let's go ahead and right click close. I'm doing nothing else but moving this back up to 82 and 83. 82 and 83. Oh, I recommend you use Mod Organizer, and I recommend you keep a backup of your load order, because the game will also reorder your plugins. I've seen since Creation Kit was released and official mod support was released, I have noticed that Starfield itself will reorder my plugins on me. So I keep a backup of my load order in case the game does it. So in Mod Organizer 2, there's your profile that has your load order and your plugins text. I keep a backup of those 3 files because I've noticed that the game will reorder my plugins. So keep in mind of that as well. Alright, go close that, start the game. Now all I did was move those plugins back up to 82 and 83. So that's all it should do. And see that the NPC is fixed. Back in. Got his head back. Depending on how badly your save is broken, if it's not too broken, the NPC would just be missing his head. If it gets really broken, it will do that thing like Aquila City where half the models were missing. I mean, not Aquila, New Atlantis. I had it happen to me here at the Aquila City where everything was missing. All the NPCs were just standing on the surface of the planet. No buildings, no Aquila City, no nothing. That was caused by load order. I have fixed it. I got my load order fixed by moving everything around, and now it's working again. Alright, now to get to the mod.
Hey, what can I do for you? Okay, no problem.
So, I originally helped the original mod author of these Firefly engines. If you know the history of these engines, somebody made them a while back, and his original mod was a replacer. It replaced the Hope 55 lander, the lander that looks like my and that has little feet at the bottom. He was replacing that, and his mesh was very simplistic. missing all the little screws and all the decals, dirt and stuff. So I helped him create an ESM to make it standalone and redid the model so that has all the decals and stuff. Back then, it was still using a bunch of different materials that I swapped out recently. But more importantly is Xedit, you can't edit the REFLs, which is what broke the ammo counter on all those weapon mods back in the day. People have modified Xedit to allow them to do that in the past. I couldn't find that version of Xedit, so I had to wait for Creation Kit. I'm not too good with Creation Kit either, so I just made the ESP and Creation Kit, copied the two movable objects that I needed with the REFLs, then say exported that as an ESM master, and finally opened that up in Xedit to copy over the rest of the changes from the old mod. So it's mostly done with Xedit. So I got the REFLs into Xedit, into the ESM using Creation Kit. Um, Now that I have the REFL, I was able to remove the temporary static thruster effects that fire when the ship takes off or lands. That static effect was in the cells. There was a reference object in the cells. I just removed those, and now the mesh had a thruster effect in it, but it required that REFL. Now that it has the RFL, the thruster effect in the mesh is working as intended. So it animates. When the engine rotates, the thruster effect rotates with it, where before the thruster effect was static, pointing down. And when the engine would rotate, it would fire out the side of the engine instead of out the booster hole. So I fixed that. I also cleaned up the mesh and fixed the issue where if you would fast travel from a surface of a planet to space, the engines would be facing down like this instead of facing back. I fixed that as well. That was an issue with the mesh. Um, the only issue that I know of that exists with the mod is still a tiny little graphical glitch, and that is because there is no uh, vanilla engines that rotate in the game for me to be able to steal a REFL from. Because I would have the thruster to take off and the thrust for the engine is two different effects. And so the one for the engine is still a static one in the cell. So that means it doesn't rotate with the engine. So for a split second, as the engine, when the ship hits max height, before the engines have rotated, the thruster kicks off. I mean, the engine kicks off. And for a split second, you see it shooting out the side of the engine as the engines rotate into it. But it's a split second, you just barely notice it, and I'm not good enough with those animations. If somebody is good with them and wants to help, I welcome their help. Anybody's welcome to use my mod as a template to create their own VTOL engines as well if they want. So, again, I was the one that helped the original person create the Firefly engine, and I have updated the Firefly engines to be fixed with everything that I did in my mod here. I gave the zip file to the person that's running the updated version of that mod, so he can go ahead and update and fix his mod as well, since he's running that. So let's go ahead and show it off. Go ahead and exit out of here and let's get rid of it. All right. And the models do have collision. So, for example, I bounce into the motor. I bounce into the motor. And I'll do that kind of climbing thing. Come on. Did it before. No. There it goes. There's that climbing thing to climb on top of the end. And then I'm having a hard time with it. Anyway, this one's a little weird because you're standing on the top of it instead of falling down into it, but at least has some collision and has the little coolant effects in there. Alright, so let's go ahead do a fast travel to another solar system so you can see that the engines are pointed the right direction. After fast traveling, that's not what I wanted. Come on, go away. Come on. Of course, you interrupt my. Come on. There we go. Alright. Now, land on a planet. And like I said, the engines have thruster effect when landing and taking off, and they have engine effects when they're in space or taking off. Too much thruster effect going on, but go. And if you pay attention to when it takes off, you will see what I was talking about. Just as the engines rotate, you'll see that the engine effect comes out of the side of the engine for a split second. That's the one minor visual glitch with it. That's because those engine effects are static. A reference object cell entry that'll be in. Engine effects work fine while you're in space. And that's it. Hope everybody enjoys. Oh, and I don't know if I covered this, but the materials I use, there is two color options. Two main materials. So that's three materials, but two can be changed. One cannot. So F and O. Come on, F and O. So it's the same as your Hopelander. The gold is always gold. The gray is one color swap, and the yellow is another color swap. Same for this engine. The yellow is one, the gray is the other. So anything yellow is one, anything gray is the other. You only have two colors that you can swap. Gold is static. You can't change the gold. Okay? And that's everything.